Good morning and welcome back. Today we're going to build some Tableau relationships using NAICS data. Relationships are very interesting. I'm so glad that Tableau put these into the system because it really simplifies what was always something that some people would consider a little bit, ominous, perhaps a little bit challenging. Because a lot of times business analysts aren't necessarily programmers, so we don't have, in that case, all those really high level, solid SQL skills for doing joins, inner joins, right joins, and those kind of things. But it's not mean everybody doesn't have it. It just means not everyone. And maybe you just didn't study it in school. However, that doesn't mean you don't have a need to understand what a number is because you have information about what a number is in another table or something. You have to kind of link that data together. The traditional way of linking that data together was to build a join, an inner join, an outer join, and Tableau has always done a great job at making joins a very visual type of experience and very straightforward, and a lot of people were able to go through that. But now they've introduced this idea of relationships. The data is related from one table to another table, and it doesn't have to be joined. It can be separate and informative, and you can actually go in and look at things. So the data prep for this exercise, we do two tables. And I chose to use the Small Business Administration or SBA Data Set because they use NAICS data codes, but they don't actually have a description in the data set. Go figure. They gave a part of a data set, but we were grateful to have the data set, and it has really good information about loan defaults. But we'd like to really understand what these, if we're going to examine loan defaults, we probably want to understand what does the NAICS mean? Do I have to look it up every time I want to see it, or is it top of my chart? That's not very useful for somebody if you're going to do an analysis. People just like to see the words. Now, like I said, there's a difference between joins and relationships. Joins are the traditional ways of doing things, and it's part of the data model within Tableau, and you still absolutely do it. But these relationships are interesting. They're exciting. You're not creating one big normalized table with every field in it and like that. For instance, those massive tables that we do, we link everything together. Or like you might do in Excel with VLOOKUPs and linking it all. You don't have to do all that. They've taken all the pain of that exercise and made this a much easier exercise. So we'll also look at those. We're going to build a relationship, and then we're going to build a report using a relationship. And we're going to start from scratch. We're going to create a new Tableau workbook, which I've kind of opened up here, and I haven't linked anything in yet. So let's take a look. So in this case, I'm going to first grab the text file from the SBA Data Set. There it is. Voila, it comes in. But I want to set a couple of things. When you open this data file, look at this. This is the loan checking number comes in. It's not the loan number is not a it's a number, but it's really a string. It's more of a primary code. And the same thing in NAICS. They have as a number with comma separations and everything. It's the way the file and the data came in. So we have to actually transform that data a little bit. Let's transform this data to a string. That looks better, right? It's more like NAICS number. And if you look at the NAICS, you'll see they all start at 53s. Now, this is very interesting and probably worth a pop over here to the NAICS Association website and scroll down to 53s, where you'll see real estate, rental, and leasing, and number of business establishments, quite a few, at 892,000. So we're going to examine data for the real estate companies in this one. And remember, Tableau themselves do a fantastic job. I can't recommend enough going through this. These 5-minute videos that they have out there, they're great. Of course, I'm focused primarily on the actual NAICS data, but Tableau is a great source. They do a fantastic job with their product, and they do great videos. So we have this. Now let's add another connection. And we're going to add the connection of, in this case, I've downloaded the data, and I separated out the real estate information. And let's go ahead and just drag this real estate. Look at that. It automatically finds itself, makes a squiggly line. I can kind of play with it. I know I'm enjoying this too much. Sorry, this is kind of fun. And I let go, and it builds me a pseudo link. Oh, look at that. It tells me relationships differ. Well, let's take a look at this NAICS data. also came in as a number, and that needs to be a string. So we create that one. That's a string. We can click on the SBA data set. It opens up that. That's a string. Let's take a look at this string. We can map it. You can map this relationship out. Grab one because it's called something different in the other table. It's only 2 fields in another table. And voila. Now we have a relationship. And you can also do other performance options. Cardinality, many to many, referential, some records match, some records match. So it's pretty much this is the default. But if you're really expert at these and want to play with it, all records match and make it exclusive, you're thinking like the old join school, but let's not go there for a moment. Let's just get what comes out of the box from Tableau. And if you click on each table, you can actually see the fields in each table. Very different than join. Usually a join, you have one big long table, you look on the right, and you have the join fields from the 2 different tables. So if we go through, let's go ahead and go through to a new sheet like it's asking us to do. And you see that we scrolled up and we have basically the dimensions and then the measures. Because there's 2 different tables, they're not really the same, right? So you could actually view the data from one table and the data from the second table. So we don't have to actually look at these things as one joined field. In this case, I got the same table, but you get the general idea in that regard. So we have this ability to operate with 2 different tables, but yet to join them. So let's take and drag the NAICS description. Now let's go here to the SBA case information, and let's grab the charge-off principle, which is unfortunately the write-offs. Now look at that. Now I have information that is very cool. I right-click, sort descending, and I can, let's make these feel a little bit bigger because it's kind of cool. It's actually beyond kind of cool. It's great. And as I look at them bigger and I'm setting the table up, I can look at the defaults of this table in a simple chart that I created, and I can see them. Offices of real estate agents and brokers have the most write-offs in the SBA data set. Well, that's pretty interesting in that regard. So we can start comparing, we can start doing our visualizations and start doing our analysis, and we can do different things with it. But you see, we were able to build a relationship. We were able to use that relationship in a report. We didn't actually have to drag the NAICS number into the report. We could actually do it in a way that people would understand, and those kind of things. The least amount, commercial air, rail, and water transportation, equipment, rental, and leasing. They had the least amount of write-offs. Passenger car leasing, not so bad either. So in real estate, you're able to do a lot of good things. Go off a lot of write-off from wear and costume rental. I guess that's important in the real estate business. So we learn a lot of new things every time we do it. Videotape and discount rental. Yeah, I guess for real estate, you have to do a lot of videotaping, pictures of things. It's a very important business people set up, but they're also, the write-offs are pretty substantial. So these are things to think about, and you can do the top 5, the rankings, and those kind of things to really call it out, because in this part of the SBA data set, it has a nice thing. So I think these relationships are powerful. I think that, building them wasn't that challenging, and using them, these relationships in the field, is pretty good. So I hope that this video shows you how to quickly link. Well, quickly, we get rid of the word link. That's old school. You just go quickly relate 2 data sets, not necessarily join them. Just say, hey, I want this from one table. I want this from the other table. If they relate, then show me how they relate, and let's use that information in a chart. And then all the functionality that we have still applies when you hit show me and all those other beautiful features that you get inside of this. So have fun with it. Feel free to comment, and remember, subscribe to our channel as we continue building great material.